Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. For those of us who feel that the international bodies, the international communities have been quiet and silent over the inhuman treatment and human rights abuses, hashtag answers, and many other issues that have been bedeviling the nation called Nigeria, well, it looks like your hope is no more deferred. Things are changing, levels are beginning to show up. Before we go to the news report to find out what may likely be the fate of what is happening or the government of the day and the underground movement going on right now, like and subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button beside it. You will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Where the United Kingdom Parliament will on Wednesday debate a petition submitted to it which called for sanctions against the Nigerian government and its officials over cases of human rights abuses during the hashtag #EndSARS movement. Members of the parliament will hold a debate on Magnitsky sanctions and human rights abuses on Wednesday at the Westminster Hall. The debate, which will start at about 2:30 p.m., that's 1:30 p.m. Nigerian time, will be led by parliamentarian Chris Bryant. In October 2020, a petition was filed which condemned the illegal activities of the now disbanded unit of the Nigerian Police Force Special Anti-Robbery Squad, otherwise known as SARS, codenamed SARS, which led to a protest and consequent shooting of peaceful protesters by members of Nigerian security force. The petitioners argued that deploying sanctions against the government would serve as a deterrent to anyone involved in human rights abuses. It reads, and I quote, "Implement sanctions against the Nigerian government and officials. The government should explore using the new sanctions regime that allow individuals and entities that violate human rights around the world to be targeted, to impose sanctions on members of the Nigerian government and police force involved in any human rights abuses by the Nigerian police. There have been deeply concerning reports of a Nigerian police force unit called SARS engaging in illegal activities and human rights abuses, and there have also been reports of police firing at protesters calling for SARS to be disbanded. Deploying sanctions would provide accountability for and be a deterrent to anyone involved in violations of human rights. All petitions run for 6 months, and by the time the petition closed, it had gathered 221,258 signatures, and the United Kingdom government responded as at on November 11, 2020. That's sometime last year. But right now, this is what's happening. Responding in a statement issued by the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the government said it is concerned by violence during the protest and was waiting on the outcome of the Nigerian investigations into the report of police brutality. The response stated, "The UK government is deeply concerned about the violence during the protests in Nigeria, which tragically claimed lives. Our thoughts are with the families of all those affected." The Foreign Secretary issued a statement on October 21st calling for an end to the violence and for the Nigerian government to urgently investigate reports of brutality by its security forces and hold those responsible to account. The Minister for Africa tweeted on 16 October, noting that Nigerian people's democratic and peaceful calls for reform, and again on 21st October, encouraging Nigerian authorities to restore peace and address concerns over brutality towards civilians. He reiterated these messages when he spoke to Foreign Minister Geoffrey Onyeama on 23rd October. The British High Commissioner in Abuja has also raised the protest with representatives of the Nigerian government and will continue to do so. We welcome President Buhari's decision to disband the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad (FSAS) and the establishment of judicial panels of inquiry to investigate alleged incidents of brutality by the security services. They must investigate all incidents, including in Lagos, fully The Minister for Africa tweeted as at October 29th, stressing the importance of the police and military cooperation with the panels. He raised this and the need for the panels to urgently start investigation when he spoke to the governor of Lagos on 11th of November. The UK government will continue to work with the Nigerian government and international and civil society partners to support justice, accountability, and a more responsive policing model in Nigeria. We will continue to push for Nigerian security services to uphold human rights and the rule of law, investigate all incidents of brutality, illegal detention, and use of excessive force, and hold those responsible to account. On 6th of July, the government established the global human rights sanctions regime by laying regulations in Parliament under the Sections and Anti-Money Laundering Act in 2018. In a statement to Parliament, the Foreign Secretary set out in full the scope of the UK new global human rights sanctions regime. He announced the first tranche of designations as well as the government's approach to future designations. This sanction regime will give the UK a powerful new tool to hold to account those involved in serious human rights violations and abuses. The sanctions regime is not intended to target individual countries. It will allow for sanctions to be imposed on individuals and entities involved in several human rights violations or abuses around the world. We will continue to consider potential designations under global human rights sanctions regime. It is long-standing practice not to speculate on future sanction designations, as to do so could reduce the impact of designations. The UK government will keep all evidence and potential listing under close review. This is quite interesting, but the question is, how long would this take? A lot of this, it's well, what they said, Rome was not built in a day. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Yes, it may not be all that Nigerians want, but it's the right step in the right direction. It's something that we can actually hope for. Nigerians have called for that petition was written about the same year the hashtag NSAS began. 1 year has been celebrated, and the report of the NSAS is already out, and Nigerians are waiting for the next move. Of course, they're working around it by hopefully by within 24 hours they're about to get to find out exactly what will be the fate of the politics being played, because of course there's a dimension to this whole thing. Don't forget, Nigeria got population and there's a lot of things involved at the background. But of course, when the information comes out on the standpoint of the sanctions, if there will be, because that's another thing, because they made it very clear that it's not because of the individual country, but the whole essence is to uphold human rights generally around the world. That's not going to wrap it up. Let's meet in our conversation. Also, take. Do have a nice time.